Chapter 3, Lesson 3 on multiplying rational numbers. Remember, rational numbers are anything that can be written as a fraction. So when we talk about multiplying rational numbers, we're really talking about multiplying fractions. Okay, multiplying fractions are easy. We multiply the numerators times each other, and then we multiply the denominators times each other. And then we have to make sure, as with everything in fractions, that we simplify our answer. All right, simple as that. All right, let's look at an example. So let's follow our rules. Multiply numerator times numerator, we get 30. Denominator times denominator, I get 120. I simplify, I see I can divide them both by 10, easy, and now I can divide them both by 3, and my answer is 1/4. All right, down below we have a positive times a negative fraction, so I have to remember in my answer that it's going to be negative. I follow my normal rules. Numerator times numerator is 21. Denominator times denominator is 36. All right, then I see that my denominators can both be divided by 3, so I end up with 7/12 as my answer. All right, now remember though that we can cross-simplify to make something, a multiplication problem, easier. So when I cross-simplify, you might want to put a little note out to the side. Cross-simplifying is that if a numerator and denominator, doesn't matter if the same fraction or different, if a numerator and denominator have a common factor, I can divide them before I multiply. And that'll help me to not have as much simplifying to do in the end. So let's look at our same examples, but this time let's cross-simplify. So if I look at it, I say, okay, here's a numerator of 5 and a denominator of 10. Sometimes you'll see them right on top of each other, but most of the time they're across from each other because otherwise this fraction will already be simplified. So I say, the 5 and the 10, I can divide them both by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, 10 divided by 5 is 2. I look at my 6 and my 12 and I say they can both be divided by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, 12 divided by 6 is 2. Then I'm ready to multiply and I do the same thing, but now I multiply 1 times 1, which gives me 1, and 2 times 2, which gives me 4. All right, let's do the same thing on the second example. So I say, okay, here I have a 3 and a 9. I can divide them both by 3, and I get a 1 here and a 3 here. My 4 and my 7, nothing can divide into both of those, and nothing can divide into 7 and 3. So I'm ready to multiply again. Positive times negative is negative, 7/12, and I still get the same answer. Now, if I want to multiply mixed numbers or whole numbers, I do the same sort of thing, but I have a different step first. First thing I need to do is make everything improper fractions. So we cannot multiply if I have mixed numbers or whole numbers. And then, same thing as before. Multiply numerators, multiply denominators, and simplify. And again, I can cross-simplify if I want. Make sure you simplify your final answer. All right, let's look at two examples. So 2 and 1/3. I'm going to do 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7/3, times 2 times 7 is 14, plus 5 is 19/7. I can cross-simplify my 7s, divide them both by 7, and I get 19/3. 19/3 is an acceptable answer. If you prefer to change it to a mixed number, is fine. It would be 6 and 1/3. But 19/3 is an acceptable answer, or 6 and 1/3. You just have to make sure they're simplified. Okay, now I have 3 times negative 1/6. I have to change my 3 to 3/1 times, and I still have a negative. I want to keep that. 7/6. I can cross simplify the 3 and the 6. I get a 1 and a 2. My answer is going to be negative 7/2, or I can change it to negative 3 1/2. Again, both answers are acceptable.